I'm going to get a new rapid peak and won't stop until I do. I'm known for my bullet speed, but I'm really trying to improve on my slow chess. Every day, I will be uploading one rapid game that I play and taking you through my thoughts live, whether I win or lose, until I reach my goal of 2350. Hope you learned something along the way, and stay tuned on my journey to a new rapid peak. Okay, our first opponent. 2282. Let's start off with d4. I always start off with d4. See what opening you're gonna get. Okay, we're starting off with potentially a Nimzo Indian, which I will admit is my weakest opening out of all the d4 openings that I face against. Okay, I used to play the Queen c2 line, which is known to not be very good. I'm just going to try to keep it simple and not overthink here. This is a good reminder, though, to go over my theory. I'm going to stick with a knight f3 line. Probably keep it simple with e3. Just try to get my bishop out in castle. Okay, they take, so we're going to take back with the pawn. I have to be careful about these two pawns in the center here. They can potentially become targets, but at least my bishop is now open. Castle, let's prioritize castling as well. Okay, it's not to decide, because if I castle, they could take, and then I have an isolated pawn. Am I okay with that? If I take first, if they take back with the pawn, their bishop becomes open, but they also have an isolated pawn. But if I take, they most likely would take with the knight, attacking my knights, and then I still have an isolated pawn. And that bishop could always come out this way. So I don't think that's great. c5 looks interesting. But if I play c5, b6, don't know. How I feel about that. I might just play with the isolated pawn, to be honest. So let's just castle and get our king save. Okay, we're up a minute now, which is rare for me. I'm usually the one who is down on time. So even though it's rapid and there's still 8 and 7 minutes left, it can make a difference that I try to keep that time advantage if I can. Time is still a piece, even if it's not bullet. Okay, they do go for b6, which I guess their plan is to take and then play bishop b7 and get this file right away. Maybe bishop a6 even. But they're trying to get this whole diagonal, which is there a way for me to not let that happen? 95 looks interesting. Then at bishop b7, I play bishop f3 and kind of contest that diagonal. Kind of like that idea. Let's go for that. And I do go for that, so bishop f3 looks good. They might play knight e4. Just trying to cut off that diagonal and put pressure on my knights. What's my game plan here? I need to get this bishop out. I need to get my rooks connected. Still following those basic principles. Okay, now bishop g5 looks interesting. Because they can't take, because then I take and I'm pinning right here. So let's go bishop g5. Trying to keep the time up as well. One thing with me is when I switch from basically anything above 3 minutes, I for some reason automatically go into like a classical time control in my head. Because when I play over the board, I overthink and take my time a lot. Always end up in time pressure. So that's definitely something I'm trying to work on, but it's been a habit for like over a decade, so don't know how easy that is to change. But okay, they play bishop e7 to get rid of this pin, which makes sense because this bishop was not doing anything anymore because my king castled. But at least I got this piece out. Now time for the major pieces. So they could still be trying to go knight to e4. How are trades looking? So if I take, if the queen takes, I take on f6, they take on f6. There's pressure on this pawn. It's for us to both have an isolated pawn, which could be interesting. Am I up for that? Because I feel like knight e4 is going to be their move. And I don't know if I actually like welcoming knight to e4. So I feel like if they play knight to e4, it's very nice and centralized. I'm not inclined to take, and maybe even after f5, this looks very nice for them. So going for this trade-off seems something I want to go for. Take. So takes. Could always take here and win the pawn. So you have 2 on 1. And if your queen takes, let's say we take twice, the disadvantage is they could have a bishop pair, but we both have an isolated pawn. That looks like something that could be interesting to play for. But the bishop pair looks very strong for them. So this is what I'm saying. I'm already down on time again, so I need to just play a move here. What if I take first? Knight takes. Or actually I could take first. Takes. And if the queen took back, I could then get an isolated pawn there. So I'm going to take on d5 actually. So to take with the knight first, I'm going to go for this trade. And then I could take on d5. And if they take back with the pawn or the bishop, doesn't matter. At the end, they have an isolated pawn, just don't have the bishop pair. So this looks like a better deal for me. They could take on e5 though. Then after I take back, now they take on d5. Then when I take... No, this is a similar story. In fact, there I might be potentially winning a pawn as well. Okay, there's a lot of arrows, a lot of jumble in the center, but this is where this tension is. So this is kind of a critical moment because it determines how the center structure is going to be. And I don't want to be the only one left with an isolated pawn if I can help it. So let's take. They can't take with the knight with this pin. They have to take with the queen. And now we can have them get an isolated pawn. What do I want to take back with? So I take with the knight. If this trade happens, bishop, knight versus bishop, knight. I take with this. They could take with this and it could go into a knight versus knight. So I can't determine the fate of that too much. But I'm probably going to take back with the knight, I think. Just because if the pawn takes, I like my bishop over their bishop for now. And I like that I would have a bishop left to hit this pawn. And if they take with the bishop, I'll take back. And after they take back, at least we both have an isolated pawn now, which I'm happy with. That was the whole goal. I didn't want to be left with an isolated pawn. Okay. Now this knight's under danger. We need to deal with this situation. I could trade, and then it could just be a queen and rook in game where we're both fighting to hit the other person's isolated pawn. I might play rook e1 though, just to get on this open file here. And if knight takes, I'll take with the rook, hitting the queen and the pawn. So my goal is probably to put the queen on f3, just get a view of a couple pawns and allow this rook to come into the game. It's going to be a slow positional late middle to end game, I think. Okay, they go rook e8. So I could play queen f3 still. I have to watch out for this pin. I don't want to get back rank mated, but if queen f3, f6, then I can take on d5 with a check. And I also always have knight d3 or knight f3 supporting the rook twice. So I like this idea of queen f3, but they might play knight f6 to then hop to e4. So I need to be a little bit careful. Let's see. Queen b3 is also an idea. Because if they get their knight to f6 and e4, at least my queen won't be kind of stuck. Let's go to b3 and hit this pawn this way. So if the knight goes here, it can't jump to e4 at least right away because my queen's still hitting it. So maybe we'll get a piece on this queen side. And now I want to bring this rook to c1. Trying to get this open file before my opponent does because they need to spend a move defending this pawn. The one thing is I can't move my knight forward because of this pin. Okay, but now that's a different story. So queen d6, now they're threatening to win my knights or win a pawn. So I could trade. I could move back. Do I want to keep knights on the board? That's kind of a decision I can make now. Kind of my choice. 3 minutes left. I have to be careful. The time just flies, really. Thinking of keeping knights. I could regret this choice. Okay, I'm gonna make the bold choice of keeping knights on the board. Knights can be very tricky in an endgame, and with less time to spare, knights can be kind of dangerous to have on the board because there's a lot more to keep track of. But I really want to keep this knight and try to get an extra attacker on this pawn. And I feel like my knight's a bit better than their knight right now. I know it's just temporary, but it's worth holding on to. And I'm only down a minute, so if I can speed up a little bit, it could be okay. But I need to get this rook out. Okay, so they're contesting that file, so let's just get the files contested so we're both looking at each other. It's a bit symmetrical here. I mean, the pawn structure is like a little different, but not a ton. Okay, I have to take with the rook. Should probably make sure my king has space, but if I play h3, there's not really room to run. g3 could weaken some squares, so I need to be a little bit careful. Okay, so I have the c file, they have the e file, they play h6. Yeah, so it might just be best to match with h3. Okay, rook e4. They're trying to hit my pawn first, so I should play queen to c3 probably, just to defend. Okay, going for this pawn, eh? If I give a check, then I just have knight f8. Do I have anything there? Knight e5 for knight d7. Looks like there could be something, but I'd have to be brave. Am I brave enough? I have to try, because I don't think I can hang on to this. So I really hope something works out here. Yeah, this is scary, because they're going to take and lose this defender. Okay, I could take and go for a check. Do I like that? What if I go knight d7 right away? Queen is going to go here. I don't know. Wait, let's go knight d7. Okay. I have an idea. I don't know how powerful it is yet, but it's an idea. Okay, so the queen went there. If I take, queen has to take. Oh, my idea might not work. Okay, wait. I can't move my rook because I get mated. Okay. I'm gonna take queen. Fine, my goal is rook c8, but rook c4 is what I missed in my calculations, which is kind of annoying because if they didn't have that, this would be a really good move. Now I just have to hope I win this pawn back, but the problem is I'm down 2 minutes. So I have a lot of making up to do, which a bit worried I might not be able to completely do. But we keep trying, it's fine. Whoa, did not expect that move, but it's a good one. I can't go for that. Oh, no, rook c1. Yeah, that's tough. Damn. Okay, this might be a loss with the time. I have to hope there's some perpetual or something, but I just played way too slow, to be honest. It's sometimes a problem when I'm trying to think out loud too. I just naturally lose track of time. So it's something I'm gonna have to work on as well with this journey, because I do want to take you through my thoughts, but I have to work on time management, which is hard to do even when I'm not trying to think out loud. Yeah, I can't really kick this queen away, which is a bit unfortunate. Because once it sits on this diagonal... Wait. Yeah, when it's on this diagonal, I can't really get the king checked enough. Because the queen just defends. No, I don't want a queen trade. 13 seconds left. Yeah. Can't do anything about that one. That pawn's a runner. And now it's over. Okay. Well, not starting off the journey on a good foot. I was doing okay, but then it just kind of went downhill. My opponent played 92.3 accuracy. Can't do much about that. So this was all fine. This was a good move. Queen f5, I should have played queen d7. Queen f5 kind of shifts it into my opponent's favor, but why? Because after here I have rook e1 still threatening the same story. That's what I missed, because when I go queen f5, I lose the ability to still threaten getting to the back rank. So queen d7, c4, rook e1. And now if the rook went back, I can just take and it's even. And if they go back, I could always take, and at least I take here. And it's back to equal. So that would have held the position. But I think after I played queen f5, it's still holdable. But yeah, that was the mistake because then I let them trade in. So I have to play queen f4 to guard this square and keep pressure on this pawn. So if they play something like rook b1, do I have rook c1? Rook c1, trying to come in with checks. This is also even. Did I have any chances earlier that I missed? I'm gonna go ahead and assume not. It was a very equal game at first. Seems like I navigated this fine. These are all best and good moves. But yeah, just like that, it's brutal because the time gets low. You make one bad positional decision. I just let my opponent get rid of the rooks, and then it was just hard to hold. Yeah, and then that was also a blunder. I wasn't sure what to do. I didn't want to take here because I was just like, they can just let this pawn run, or they can give a check, and then they could take here. And it's like about minus 0.6, so this is going to be really hard to hold, especially with my time anyway. But I'm going to have to work on my time management. But yeah, these positional games are really brutal because all it takes is one mistake and then it can go downhill with low time. Okay, not the start I wanted, but we go again tomorrow.